Storm 11 here. Today we'll be taking a look into your severe weather update for Tuesday. Now, we're going to focus on this day pretty closely, so I'm right now going to be issuing a select risk, and I'll give y'all the reasoning in just a moment. But first, we're going to take a look at the severe weather ingredients here. After looking the GFS model, I cannot really look much into the European model, but the GFS, this is what it kind of indicating that the dew point. Well, let's first go over, because this is different than that I used to. So in the green, that means there's some good news there. It means it's not favorable for severe weather. Yellow, it's sort of good. It's kind of in between. Red is bad news. The red is something you do not want. And we actually got quite a bit on it on the board here. So you see the dew points are very favorable, especially in central Kentucky, where dew points could be in the 80s. Very high dew points. That tells you that there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Cape is going to be pretty favorable as well. Talk about Cape values over 4,000 in some spots. Holistic is going to be kind of in between here. It's all about the evening hours on this here. The lift index is going to be pretty favorable. The wind shear is going to be kind of in between. It seems like it will catch up later in the evening hours, but in the afternoon hours it's kind of away, so it catches up pretty quick. The wind speed, the jet stream, does not look to be messing with this severe weather setup that much. Although the GFS is predicting something way up in the atmosphere, 250 millibars, there is some knots going on up there for portions of northern Kentucky and southern Indiana and Ohio, which then may get this upgrade to between type of stage. Lap rates is in between. The low-level lap rates are pretty favorable, but when you go to mid-level, it is not favorable. So that falls into between there. EHI is going to be pretty favorable. Same thing for the vorticity. The sign in, I don't even know what it's named for, but I do know is when you have no sign in, then there's going to be some thunderstorms around. See, I got a slight risk. I got 15% for damaging winds and large hail. The tornado threat, this is something we're going to keep an eye on. We may need to upgrade that to 5%, but we just do not know yet. So for any Kentuckians watching this from Twitter, here's my forecast map for the state of Kentucky here. And you guys are watching just from my area. You can see here, since it's day 6, you're not going to show marginal. This just kind of gives an area of an idea where the severe weather could potentially happen by model guidance. You can see here I got the majority of the state in a slight risk. The eastern half of the state has no risk, but probably when we reach day 3, marginal risk can be in for some of those counties there. Let's move to a world view here. You can see I got a slight risk from Ohio, Indiana, for Kentucky, southern Indiana, and Ohio. I'm in Illinois, and southeastern Missouri, and portions of Tennessee and Arkansas. Like I said, main threats are going to be damaging winds. We can have some large hail. Tornado threat will be there, but it's going to be low at this time. Now let's go ahead and take a look at two models. As you can see here, I already got this at 5 o'clock. Here's your cold front right in here. You can tell by the winds, this is going to be your cold front. At this point, it's at St. Louis, Bloomington, Dayton, and Cincinnati. This is where this is. And this is 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Let's go ahead and move on to 8 o'clock. You see the cold front. The cold front is more noticeable, but we still got pretty good Cape values out ahead of it, which is a lot of fuel to those thunderstorms. Let's go to 11 o'clock. You can see the cold front's more noticeable, but we still got some favorable Cape values, especially back in Paducah, which are still at about or around 3,000 there. Let's go to the Cape and Shear values. Let's go back up to 5 o'clock. Now, at Cape and Shear, there is quite a bit in Indiana, Ohio. So, you can see above 1,000 is kind of severe weather criteria in this. So, if you're around or above 1,000, this kind of indicates a potential tornado threat or supercells. Well, and or supercells, I should say. You can see we got values above. Looks like the most I could see is 1,000, about 500. Now that is a little high. Well, it's not really too high or anything, but it's a little high. If we push it on to 8 o'clock, since the Cape is going down, that means these numbers are going down. But we still got values. So here's your cold front. You can see Paducah is 920, Evansville is 990, Louisville is 830. Then we move to 11 o'clock. You can see now what this is here is pretty much a thunderstorm or a severe thunderstorm that's rolled through the area. That's where high thin clouds spread far apart. You can see the cold front's now through here, and that's where the showers of thunderstorms will probably be around somewhere in the cold front. Let's back this up to 5. Now let's look into wind shear. Now wind shear here, you can see it's pretty high, especially around Cincinnati. When you're over 20, that's kind of severe. That is severe weather criteria. Below that, not so much. But as we go later, you can see it starts to catch up a little bit to the cold front where the storms are going to be. You see, the storms right now will be here. Now it's caught up a little bit further. Let's go to 11 o'clock. You can see thunderstorms are here. You can see some of the 20s are reaching to those areas. So the tornado threat, well, the severe weather threat could be overnight as well. So this is 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here. Let's back this up to 5. Let's go and look into sign in. You can see 5 o'clock, the sign in is about pretty much 0 because we don't really have much of any thunderstorms develop. Now when you go like up here, like in north central Indiana, Ohio, even Illinois, seems like there'll be rounds of thunderstorms there that could create some flash flooding. So those folks up there has a chance of flash flooding. But kind of south of this has a chance of severe weather. But that could need a downgrade there. More just a marginal risk up there. The area we're really focused on is just over in here, where a good chunk of them will be coming together. You can see 8 o'clock, the sign in increases. This is where we start getting to the nighttime hours, so the sign in is going to go a little higher. Where you see the highest sign in, that's coming from thunderstorms. You can see there's a spot there, large spot in Ohio, and a few others. And this could be some scattered thunderstorm activity out ahead of the cold front that usually happens all the time. Let's go to 11 o'clock. You see when we get to nighttime, when you're inside those thunderstorms pretty much, or near it, you see it's lower. There could be some like warm inflow or something there that is keeping the temperatures probably warmer, and that's keeping the sign in a little bit lower, at least I think. You can see your storms are right here. You can see the cold front's a little bit more noticeable there as well. Let's go to the Lifton Index. You can see it's pretty favorable with lift. You can see the highest bound, which is at Lexington, looks to be negative 10 degrees Celsius. This is, I think, this is kind of like Cape a little bit. This is where, well, I'm not 100% sure what this is. I think it's just, well, if it's Lifton Index, then that tells you the storms can go pretty high there. So the highest amounts, that shows you how cold it is way up in the atmosphere. That's what the storms want. You got warm, moist air down near the surface, and when you get those together, you get condensation, and you produce clouds. When you get very cold temperatures, then the storms will probably be able to go up pretty fast. So, when you got a pretty favorable environment like this, there could be some large hail with this. You know what? I forgot. Hold on. Let's go to 8 o'clock. You can see, since we're heading to the nighttime hours, these numbers should be going down because the temperatures are getting cooler. But we're still getting pretty good -9, -8, usually above below -5 in this chart here. That's severe weather criteria. When you're in the negatives, you can get some thunderstorms. When you're above that, then it's not favorable at all. Let's see, there's 8 o'clock and there's 11. And this is still favorable for thunderstorms, so those storms, whatever's going to develop along there, it's going to have a lot of fuel. Let's go to Helicity. Now, above 100 is, if I'm correct, that is some severe weather criteria. We do have a couple spots of hundreds. Now, that what makes this do is make the winds go vertical, if I'm correct. That's what the Helicity does, which it does increase the chances for tornadoes. Up north, that's, all this here is like behind the cold front and around low pressure, and that's right here. That's where you see the highest numbers there. When you're in a severe weather area like this, you get a better chance for supercells and tornadoes there. We go to 8 o'clock, you can see there's a problem. It's increasing a little bit. So some of the winds are starting to go a little bit vertical. Now, keep in mind there's a lot of moisture and a lot of cape. So we could have potential supercells, but we're not 100% sure. All I can tell you is this is all GFS here, and the GFS is the second best. I did look onto the Euro. What the Euro show, it does show some severe weather, but it's isolated. So that kind of goes in margin of risk territory there. But with the GFS second best, it falls into like slight to enhanced territory. And when you average them out, well, you get slight. Alright, back to this. We have pretty good Helicity values there. We go 11. Here you go. Here is your cold front right here. And you should see some thunderstorms there. I'm correct. And yes, there they are. These yellow dots show thunderstorms here. So you can see a squall one does develop. But it seems like they're not really heavy rain producers. They could be more of hail or damage to wind producers here. So we're done with that. Let's go ahead and move on to the supercell composite. Now, I do not really agree with this that much. Now, both of these are different websites here. Now, this is where the higher shear is, but this is where the lower cape is up north. That's why it's higher. Well, as you go further south, there's less shear, but there's way higher cape values. We go to get those two much together, which is like in this area right here where you're showing red. That's where the best chance supercells could happen. Now, like I said, there's going to be rounds of showers and thunderstorms up here from west to east. So, let's go and take a look into this. Now, in my opinion, I think it would be a little bit higher to the south, at least into orange or near red territory. You see, it's giving it a chance for a potential significant supercell. Even the severe hail has some matches, but they're loose matches there. You can see the potential hazard type could be a tornado. You can see the cape is actually pretty high near the surface, but when you're up in the atmosphere, it's actually lower. It's kind of the same situation back here. very low shear but high K values. But I think I checked back there and there's a capping. That's why that area is not even highlighted. We go a little bit further to the south here, going to this green. You can see there is some severe weather potential. There is potential for a supercell, and there is some severe hail potential as well with this. Now, it's not as bad as up north, but by looking at the greens from V2 to the sky, probably later, like to the overnight hours, the threat should push south and probably be more enhanced risk area over here. 2 to 3 is what's in yellow. The orange is 4 to maybe even 6, and 6 to 8 is in red. Let's go to this area. This is towards the evening hours where the squall line really develops. You can see the capping is kind of close. It is. We do have a little bit of sign in around. You can see there's even potential for a significant supercell, so there is a match, but there's 83 others. So the chances of supercells are kind of low. The Cape, though, is pretty favorable. There's a potential tornado. The equinox is a little bit high, which it gives a chance for some hail. Now, in my opinion, I think the risk will be a little bit further to the south. A little bit. Where there's pretty high K values, and wherever I looked on here at 250 millibars, there is a little bit of shear going on up north that actually tries to slip by. There it is right there. Then it seems like some more here. Well, I don't know. All we do know is that there's potential supercells where I highlighted the area. That's the area we're going to be watching pretty closely. Now, it may get a little bit smaller. We're just going to see what's going to happen. And this is likely going to change. So if the GFS backs off, then this slight risk area is going to be gone, basically. So, yeah, this is all good for guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this severe weather update. If y'all did like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like our channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you got any questions about the severe weather setup, put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next video.